Hello guys, and welcome to another episode of Is It Worth It, the series where I share my review and my opinion on different video games I've experienced. 2 weeks ago, I reviewed the game called Asterix and Obelix XXL3 The Crystal Manier, and I mentioned that I had a Smurf review which was coming soon. And thus, today we're looking at the game called The Smurfs Mission Vileaf. The game was developed once again by Osome Studios and was published by Microids in October 2021 for all available consoles. The game is an action-adventure platformer with third-person elements, which includes the beloved heroes of Smurfs as they embark on the new adventure. Personally, I like how the game looked, and as you may know, I love 3D platformers, and thus when the game was out, I bought it. The story of the game is very simple and easy to follow. Gargamel was in his evil laboratory when he came across an old and dangerous book. While reading the book, he found a magic formula which allowed him to create an evil plant called the Vileaf. The spell itself is very dangerous as the Vileaf is capable of producing small plants called the Vile traps. These traps are capable of attracting Smurfs and imprisoning them inside of them, whilst at the same time sending a signal back to Gargamel. To make matters worse, the Vileaf and its Vile traps also threaten the forest itself as they contain and release a high amount of toxic gas that itself spreads fast. Papa Smurf and his Smurfs became aware of the danger that the spell is causing and tried to find out a solution. Hefty Smurf created an invention which can help them cure the forest and embark on the journey to collect the materials to undo the spell. Personally, I find the story short, simple and yet effective as it doesn't have to be too complex. The game is fully voice acted, which makes the whole experience very interesting and fun. The plot is also given by Poet Smurf, who narrates the events prior and after a main chapter is finished. The game uses in-game dialogue with the avatar standing still and an image of the hand-drawn art. The one and only problem that the game has story-wise is the fact that the word Smurf is being mentioned so often that I ended up hating the damn word. Maybe it's because I haven't seen the show when I was a kid, but I don't remember it being called as often as they do here. Nevertheless, the gameplay should be the focus of the game. Smurf Mission Vileaf can be enjoyed in both single player and in local co-op as there is no online multiplayer. If the game proceeds in multiplayer, the two players share the same screen, however the camera will focus on player 1. It is important to mention that once again in co-op, the first person will be instantly locked in the place of a Smurf character, and the second player will locked on Sam. Sam is small for Smurtronic aerial machine, which is a machine capable of flying, healing the forest, and use explosive seeds to heal the player. The disadvantage of Sam is the fact that he cannot move away from the player. The game is an action-adventure platformer that also uses third-person shooter elements with the addition of the Smurfizer. The Smurf player gets control of one of 4 Smurfs: Hefty, Chef, Smurfette, and Brainy. Each Smurf is locked to certain maps, however when replaying a level, the player can swap to any of the Smurf that he wants to play. The Smurfs are capable of walking, jumping, and stomping. Each Smurf is given the same Smurfizer, which acts as a weapon that shoots a healing gas which can cure the forest and also defeat the enemies. The Smurfizer has its own unit upgrades that transfer over to whoever is carrying it. The Smurfizer's gameplay additions are hover, gliding, sprint, and absorb small enemies and bullets and shoot them back. Furthermore, the game also offers more upgrades such as increase the gliding time, better control when sprinting/gliding, etc. etc. The Smurf's lives are health points that are located on top left, and it loses a life when receiving a hit from an enemy or being hit by the environment. In order to regain health back, the Smurf will have to stomp on certain crates that can be found around the map, which consists of Smurf berries. In multiplayer, Sam is not targeted by enemies, it cannot be hit and is capable of breaking the crates to heal player 1. The player's goal is to travel in the forest, heal as much as they can while on their way to collect the key ingredient that they were sent to collect. Corrupted areas are represented in dark purple gluey area with purple smoke above them. When walking in a corrupted area, the Smurf speed is significantly reduced. In order to cure it, the player will have to simply shoot them with the Smurfizer, however, unless the player spray the entire block of grass, they will turn corrupted yet again. Certain vines block the path or have a collectible hidden behind them, and the player will have to heal the entire block surrounding the walls in order for the corruption to be healed. Healing the entire area is not mandatory, but doing so will reward the players with achievements. Each Smurf will come across certain areas that includes Vile traps which trap the Smurf. In order to release the Smurf from the Vile trap, the player will have to follow the routes of the trap to locate its hearts. When the player successfully destroys all the Vileaf Trap's hearts, the Smurf will be freed. Each map is unique and have different areas located in the Smurf world. The enemy variety is very decent for the game, and some of them require different process to be dealt with. They must have hidden locations for collectibles and are generally fun to explore. The collectibles found are pretty much items that the player can spend on handy in order to upgrade his Smurfizer. Overall, Smurfs Mission Vileaf is a fun game. The story of the game is simple but effective, keeping it close to how story events are being told in the comic books and in the old cartoons. Each of the Smurf characters are fun and voiced in a good way. Maybe the word Smurf is being overused, but it is what it is. It is also worth mentioning how Smurfs who are not playable and barely are in the game can still be found, and some of them do show their personality, such as Grumpy, Sleepy, and even the Farmer. The plot is simple to follow and enough to allow the Smurfs to venture around. The gameplay is good for single player but unfair for co-op, as Sam is unaffected by the enemies, does not matter if Gargamel spots it, and overall his abilities become useless as the player's Smurf character will soon receive upgrades that are more superior than Sam, but nevertheless, co-op is still co-op. The upgrades that the Smurfizer can obtain make the gameplay significantly better, as the more the options and maneuver abilities, the better the fun. The amount of collectibles found in the game are really good, and they're a lot. Collecting them is fun, and as mentioned, they are needed in order to fully upgrade the player's Smurfizer. The music of the game is simple, adding to a relaxing soundtrack and action when enemies are nearby. A small issue on the audio are some audio effects such as the spider steps and gargamels that are extremely loud for no reason and they are annoying, but it is something that the player can fix by opening the pause menu and lowering the voice effects. It is also worth mentioning that the game doesn't have a lot of cutscenes other than the ones with the book and the poet Smurf narrating it. The combat of the game is mediocre, not because of the enemy variety, but because when there are sections with a lot of enemies, the insta-long function might create a few problems. Nevertheless, the game's highest difficulty is pretty easy to begin with and has little to none challenge. The game's length is really good as it is not short but also not very long, and completing to 100% is very easy to achieve. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. Tell me in the comments your thoughts on the game, and if it caught your eye, you can learn more about it in my website linked below. Till then, take care and I'll see you all in the next one. See ya!